Tensions grow as the government shutdown continues. We go to Jim Acosta for more.
One thing that's not shut down in Washington, the president's Twitter feed, as Mr. Trump was back to playing the blame game, asking the question, why is Nancy Pelosi getting paid when people who are working are not? Pelosi fired back, tweeting, stop holding the paychecks of 800,000 Americans hostage. In other signs, the shutdown is dragging on. Republicans slam Democrats for rejecting an invitation to negotiate at the White House.
But if you don't show up at the table, how in the world are we ever going to come to a solution?
While Democrats pointed to the federal workers in key jobs who are suffering the consequences.
You have Coast Guard workers who are working without pay. You have Border Patrol agents working without pay. TSA agents working without pay. That is unconscionable.
The only sign of bipartisanship was the condemnation of Iowa GOP Congressman Steve King for his comments to the New York Times. King, who has made racist comments in the past, said, white nationalist, white supremacist, Western civilization, how did that language become offensive? After being stripped of his committee assignments, King actually supported a resolution rejecting his own remarks.
But I can tell you this, that ideology never shows up in my head. I don't know how it could possibly come out of my mouth.
King has been a provocateur on the issue of race for some time.
They'd construct itself to be a 12-foot finished wall.
Back in 2006, when showing off his own proposal for a wall on the border, he compared migrants to livestock.
We could also electrify this wire with the kind of current that wouldn't kill somebody, but it would simply be a discouragement for them to be fooling around with it. And we do that with livestock all the time.
So far, the president has kept quiet on King.
I haven't been following it. I really haven't been following it.
The president is facing new questions of whether he's doing the bidding of his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. The New York Times reports senior administration officials said the president suggested he may withdraw from the NATO alliance on several occasions last year. The president brushed off the notion he would go that route at the last NATO summit.
I think I probably can, but that's unnecessary, and the people have stepped up today like they've never stepped up before.
But a senior official with a NATO partner country tells CNN allied officials did work hard over the last year to convince the president to remain in the alliance, saying, quote, we've raised it multiple times at all levels. Some NATO partners were concerned about the president's repeated complaints that some member countries were falling behind in their defense spending.
So we have NATO, then we have the UK, and then we have Putin. And I said, Putin may be the easiest of them all. You never know.
Not to mention Mr. Trump's acceptance of Putin's denials that Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial.
On Tuesday, a former aide to Joaquin El Chapo Guzman testified in court alleging that the former drug lord once bribed the former Mexican president Enrique Peña Nieto. The testimony came from Colombian trafficker and personal aide to El Chapo, Alex Cifuentes, who had been on the stand for 3 days prior to the announcement. There were also implications that lower-level Mexican politicians, police, and military officials were in on the extensive corruption network facilitated by El Chapo's cartel.
On Tuesday, William Barr, the man President Trump has set to replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions, faced a series of tough questions. We go to Camila Bernal for more.
President Trump's pick to lead the Justice Department and oversee the Mueller probe, promising to protect the investigation during his Senate confirmation hearing.
If confirmed, I will not permit partisan politics, personal interests, or any other improper consideration to interfere with this or any other investigation.
If confirmed, William Barr would have direct oversight of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference of the 2016 elections and possible collusion by the Trump campaign. The same probe former Attorney General Jeff Sessions recused himself from in 2017, a move that sparked the ire of the president, but one that Barr agrees with.
I think he probably did the right thing recusing himself.
Barr says he would not be influenced by the president, who has been publicly critical of the probe since it began.
I will not be bullied into doing anything I think is wrong.
Barr faced questions about a memo he wrote to senior Justice Department officials last year. In it, he called the special counsel's obstruction probe, quote, fatally misconceived.
The memo did not address or in any other way question the special counsel's core investigation into Russian efforts to interfere in the election, nor did it address other potential obstruction of justice theories or argue that some have wrongly suggested that a president can never obstruct justice.
Earlier today, an attack on U.S. service members was claimed to have been carried out by ISIS in Syria. A spokesperson for the U.S.-led coalition Operation Inherent Resolve said in a tweet, U.S. service members were killed during an explosion while conducting a routine patrol in Syria today. We are still gathering information and will share additional details at a later time. As of now, there are no official reports on how many service members were killed, but only that the attack was carried out by a suicide bomber.